This is a show about the path less taken, a show about a rocky path, a path of patience, persistence in equal measure. What you ultimately find down this path is passion, a passion for live electronic music. Welcome to Hardware Road. And in this episode, we welcome Jani Ho.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us in your abode.
You're most welcome.
In your wonderful studio, surrounded by blinking lights, just the way we like it. Look, a quick intro. Jani has been working on his live set for about 25, 26 years.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah. He's taken his live show all around the world in the last couple of decades, performing throughout Europe, Asia, and the United States. He also DJ'd in the past, and he had residencies in various times in various places, including Switzerland, Thailand, and, of course, here in Australia. And techno was his first love, but his sound has now evolved over the years into an electro style, which is of his own. Does that all sound accurate to you?
That sounds pretty much like me.
Yeah, okay. I hope so, because otherwise you'd have to update your resident advisor bio.
I probably should anyway.
Okay, so first question. I wanted to go way back. I always do go way back, to your childhood. And once again, I read this on your resident advisor bio, and you mentioned your father was a lover of music, which resulted in your fascination with mechanisms and how they interact with sound.
True.
Yeah. So do you have any particular memory or a funny story you can tell us about that time? Or?
Yeah, I guess the funniest story is I can't really remember because I was about 3. I collected most of my dad's vinyl collection and put it in the oven and turned the oven on.
You wanted to see what one mechanism would have, like with another mechanism.
Mixing 101.
Melting the mixing records.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have recorded the sound of that and could have had that as a sample or something. Oh, that's gold. And so, but your mother was also artistic. Her medium was painting and drawing.
No, my mum didn't paint or draw, but she's always pushed me towards art and painting and drawing. She was that person in my life that I didn't really want to go to football camps or ice hockey camps or all the sports camps the kids did after school during summer.
Yeah.
And I think that time my parents didn't really have a lot of money either, so my mum just put me into community art classes because they were practically free and they took anyone. And I was the only 8-year-old there with all these 30-year-old something people wanting to become artists.
Oh, really?
And I did, contour drawing, I did sculpting, I did clay, I did painting, I did charcoal drawing.
So this ultimately had a big impact on your current career, which is outside of music, of course, which you do for your day job, which is...
Designer, yeah.
Yeah.
Industrial designer. But yeah, look, I don't think if my mum hadn't put me through all those art classes, I wouldn't have found music.
Oh, as well,
art,
yeah.
I think my mum really nurtured that artistic side in me, and I owe it all to her for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad, you don't get a look in?
No.
That's why you had your vinyl melted.
That's right.
You were listening to the wrong tunes, Dad.
No, Dad helped me with sports and things, what dads do.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But you grew up in Finland.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And then you moved to the bustling New York City.
That's right.
In your teens. Tell us about how this time influenced you musically, or even just influenced you as a person, how it shaped you.
Oh, I think it influenced me both ways. I moved there when I think I just turned 12. I was about to turn 12. I didn't speak a word of English. I mean, you pick it up quickly when you're a kid, but still, I remember the first few months just feeling very outside of things.
Yeah.
Like an outsider, not clearly having any idea what's happening around me. And then I would listen to radio a lot, and I'd listen to specifically music that didn't have vocals in it because I didn't speak English. So I think that just
Jazz. I think you mentioned a lot
I
of
really
jazz
got into
and-
jazz music. Then obviously early New York house radio stations and anything that was instrumental.
Okay.
I truly love that. And I think you take that chorus away, because all I ever before that had was pop music in Finland, and you sing along to it, but you don't actually know the words because you don't know English.
Oh, right, yeah.
So now when I discovered music that was all instrumental, I could just hear the music.
Yes.
And I could just enjoy the actual music rather than there was nothing that you could sing over the top or nothing.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting that that you put it that way, because when I started to get into electronic music, and I remember my family, being at a Christmas party, and they're going, "Why are you listening to that music? It's got no lyrics." And I said, "I listen to it because it's got no lyrics. It doesn't have to be English. It doesn't have to come from the Western world. I listen to music, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. I'm just taking the music in, and you can obviously get an emotion and a feeling from music." You don't need vocals, right? So, it was, an interesting correlation there. Let's move on to the next question. So, returning home, you returned home to Finland, and you were telling me you had to do military service, which I actually didn't know that was a part of the Finnish lifestyle over there.
It's compulsory. It still is.
Yeah.
I think most people take it pretty seriously and want to do it. I would have been just before I turned 18. Well, I was 17. I finished high school and went straight. I think I had 2 weeks from graduation party to being in the fatigues.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah, it was a culture shock for sure.
Yeah. But do you think that you learned anything from that time when you were there, like discipline or anything
absolutely.
like that? Did that help in any way? Yeah.
As a young male, of course it did. It helped discipline, cleanliness. Anything from learning to make your own bed, and real nice and tight, military grade, to folding your clothes, to keeping up with your uniform and all that, and obviously following the rules.
Yeah. So, did you reckon that somehow has transpired into your or into what you do now musically? Because I think it takes a certain amount of discipline and concentration and commitment, right, to go live, right? Yeah.
I think so, but I don't know if I can thank military for it. I think it's more OCD that helps.
It was there. It was just that the military. Maybe it's as you said, because you were quite young and probably as we do. I remember when I was 18, I was still mucking about. Wasn't disciplined at all. So
that's right. Yeah.
It just it clicked that in earlier than it probably normally would. Yeah. When you were home, obviously you finished military, and you mentioned you went to your first rave in Helsinki.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I did my first rave in Helsinki. I can't remember what year it was anymore, but I would have been a year out of military or something like that.
Yeah.
And just wandered into somebody said, "Hey, come to this cool party in Helsinki," and it went well.
Yeah.
Wow.
So did you party for a little while over there before leaving Finland?
No, I think I went to that rave. I think I might have gone to a couple maybe nightclub events, but that's about it.
Yeah, okay.
Not that much.
So when did you start proper like raving? Basically, it's raving back in the days. That's what we did.
I'd say I probably started going to here in Melbourne.
Once you came here to Melbourne. Yeah. Okay. Proper raving. So how did that influence, how did that change you? Did that change you? Or did it, if it didn't change you as a person, how did it change you musically? Was there any type of revelations or?
Well, look, I'm sure it changed me both musically and as a person. The first time you ever go to the raves and you realize that there's stuff like this out there. You go, wow, okay.
Yeah.
This is great. Everyone's nice.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the equal level.
Yeah.
There's no
judgment,
discrimination of any sort.
There's no meat markets going on.
Yeah, and everyone's like friendly and supportive and nice. It was just a community.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was amazing. You know, the music obviously was amazing and blow away, because back then I haven't heard anything like that before. Well,
Yeah.
none of us really had.
Yeah.
And just the plethora of new sounds coming at you, you know, in massive, and sharing with thousands of people was just amazing.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah. I'm sure, which partly why we do this stuff still, I think,
right.
you know. We have that. I was talking to Ada last night, actually, and I was saying I still get that feeling, because she asked me how do I get to that point in my set where I'm like, well, because I was on the dance floor and I have that memory that of getting to that point where the music got to that point, and that's what I loved, right? So I purposefully try to do that for when I play live, because it's almost selfish, right? Because you're making the music you want to hear when you're on the dance floor. Is that something for you?
Yeah. I mean, it just flows out of you. I don't really think about it that much.
You dance around your studio on your videos, so
yeah,
I assume you're enjoying.
Still.
So I assume you're making it because you're enjoying what you're hearing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even notice I'm doing it myself, or I try to do less of it because it makes the camera shake.
Need to get a one of those absorbers or whatever it is. Yeah. So okay. So you were a DJ first, then, though? Yeah. And you had a residency. You mentioned Laundry, where you used to play techno house and electro.
Yep.
But you still played live.
I did
now and again.
I started playing out live, but I only really got, I think, one live gig, and then it was easy to get DJ gigs.
Yeah. Okay.
So
nothing's changed. Nothing's changed really.
Yeah, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed in that. That's for sure.
Yeah. You're much more likely to get a DJ gig than you. Yeah.
In general,
live gig.
But I think it was important to learn and do those years of DJing and learn how to work a crowd and read a crowd and what different music people like, and you know, because I'd play sometimes after a comedy night, sometimes I'd play after a metal show, sometimes I'd play after you know, country music, or
country music,
somebody playing ballads on the guitar, on a microphone. So to be their music turn off, and now it's your turn to play because you're the resident DJ. Now you have to keep these people up here for 2 hours. So to learn to do that was really important, I think.
Yeah.
I think every musician needs to learn that, whether you're electronic or not.
Yeah, so house and electro would have been your sort of go-tos in most of those situations.
Yeah,
maybe some techno for the metalheads. Well, exactly. I know I was an old metalhead.
Yeah, so, I remember playing Lux Later records after metal shows. People liking them and going, wow, this works.
Yeah, of course.
But no, I mean, look, I've always liked to keep it varied as well, especially venues like that.
Yeah,
because it's not all about techno.
It's not a night, right? It's it's But was that the only residency you had? Like...
No, I did also Soft Belly, but I guess that was more sort of house music orientated on a Friday night.
Yeah,
for business people in the city.
Oh, okay, yeah. That'd be a good coin then too.
It was a good gig and it was fun, and I met my wife there.
Oh, right.
I wouldn't have met her if I didn't do that, so I can't regret it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like Laundry where you had to play, you know, I played 3 to 4 times a week there, and every night it was different.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a great learning curve.
Yeah, so Laundry was the place for you and your development.
That's where I did my hard yards, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into live then. Now you mentioned your first live set was at War of the Worlds. Was that right, or did I get that wrong?
No, it was in Helsinki.
Oh, okay.
It was in Helsinki. It was someone gave me a gig, and it was at the Nokia cable factory in Helsinki. So they used to make big cables in the industrial one. So it's a massive concrete long room. Then they turned into an art space and gave it to the city of Helsinki to do concerts and whatnot.
Yeah.
And once in a while they put on raves there. And the sound just travels through that. It's insane.
Yeah.
So I got to play there. My first ever.
That was your first ever
gig in anything, like DJ, nothing. So
wow.
And I played an 45-minute live set with a MPC 2000, and I had 2 scratch records, like Bernie and War of the Worlds scratch record.
Yeah.
And that was my live set, pretty much.
Yeah. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
the only way
I think back now, and I'm like, how horrible would the music been? But you got to start them somewhere.
You do. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and I gave it my all from get-go, so,
I'm sure it sounded fine to, the patrons.
People danced.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. we're always our worst critic, of course, Yeah. So you had the MPC. That was your first piece of gear, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 2000 sitting down there with an audio sticker on it. Yeah. It was the piece of hardware of choice, especially back in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? I remember seeing, a few different artists. Voitech is a classic example of, because when I started to become interested in it, okay, what are they using? They were always using MPCs, and I couldn't bloody afford one. So I had to settle for an R&1X, but once again, you have to start somewhere, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I sold my turntables for that.
Oh, yes, that's commitment. And it was around 2007, I think you mentioned you decided to stop DJing altogether and commit to the live set, or?
Yeah, well, look, it was about 2010 when I went that way, but 2007 I moved to Europe with my wife for about 3 years, and I kind of took a break from music.
Oh, okay, that's where I got to 2000.
Yeah, I mean, I DJed before that, I played live, and I had the jazz band at the time, and I played a lot out. And I think I just got burnt out.
Yeah.
Also, techno scene was kind of...
It was sort of a little bit...
almost non-existent.
Obscure back then, yeah.
And it wasn't until it came back again that I, got into it. I moved back to Australia 2010.
Yeah, so you're in Switzerland before that.
For 3 years.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I think after that, coming back to Melbourne, the techno scene started picking up more.
Yeah.
It just seemed...
For some reason, techno came back.
Yeah, it felt like it came back, and I went, all right, let's go, and I started playing just live.
So anyone asked you to DJ or saying no?
I did DJ occasional gigs till about 2015, 16, something like that.
All right, yeah. And then you've got enough live gigs to say no, or did you ever say no to the DJ gigs, or did people just decide to get you in to do the live stuff instead of DJing?
It's more like that. I think people just book me for live now. Yeah, they don't ask me to DJ.
Yeah, that's what they know you, because that's how I've pretty much known you. Yeah. So coming back into the scene, funnily enough, around 2015. So that's all I know you was doing is the live stuff. Yeah. I only realised that you did DJs when you occasionally get asked to DJ now. And I went, Jani DJs.
I did before 2000. We did Super Enjoy at Workshop and Section 8.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
C1 and Caspian, and I think that would have been my last actual residencies or
so you were technoing, techno at that time, or depending on where you played, what you played, like electro or house?
I'd say Super Enjoy was more house, electro.
Yeah.
Sort of. You couldn't just play techno. It was at the Workshop or Section 8, so you had to keep people bopping. So it was electro or house or party tunes, but
when you mentioned those places, I'd thought, techno's more for the club, than anything else, right? You started with the MPC. Let's go back to your live set. You started with the MPC. How did your live set evolve from there?
How did it evolve from there? I think evolved. I got a computer.
Yes.
One of my first Macs.
Ableton?
Yeah, Ableton, and I'd probably bring that on stage. I remember doing some gigs where I had I'd bring a screen, like the old screens.
Oh, CRT or whatever. Yeah.
So it'd be that, MPC, maybe a couple other bits and pieces, effects, something. And then later on, I got rid of the computer and then just went more just hardware.
Yeah.
And
so drum machines.
Yeah, I think I'd still do
the Korg.
Yeah, the Korgs.
Where are they? The EM and the ES, are they around here somewhere?
That's there. Yeah, there.
Yeah.
The other one's in the shelf somewhere. Yeah, that kind of started it. And then it's just accumulated over time. I guess I just got more and more hardware.
Yeah.
But
now we have a room full and probably a cupboard full as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
I know the story. So how did... I know modular's sort of been a recent thing for you. Were you trying to avoid that to begin with?
I was trying to avoid it because I felt like I just want to stick to the things that I know, B, that I can get results with, and write music and play music with instantly, and save things and settings on them.
Yes.
And I always thought modular was way too advanced for me. I didn't understand synthesis well enough for until I dove into it, and then you kind of go, I kind of know about this stuff already.
You know more than I thought you knew.
Yeah.
Do you find that you did it teach you anything then? And did you come back to your hardwired synthesizers and drum machines with any new insights after delving into modular, or you was the other way around? You just discovered that I pretty much already know all this stuff. Like,
there's a lot of things I didn't know. I mean, it took a lot of calling friends and asking, well, what's this do? How can you show me this? And then once you work things like that out, then you sort of, I guess it explained itself to yourself better and better. The more you sort of know some of the basics, then you sort of discover, okay, it sort of works out for the whole, everything else in the modular field.
Yeah.
Or in the synthesis. So,
yeah,
it's been good to learn it. And still learning for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's really taught me anything else in terms of boxes or drum machines.
Yeah, okay. So, it didn't... Yeah, because I sort of came back... I learned synthesis... Well, I actually learned about sound to begin with. I sort of neglected synthesis in my early days of when I first started. I thought learning about sound would be more important. It wasn't until later on, and then I got into modular, and then I started wiring things together, and then that sort of rewired my head and my brain the way I thought about the hardware boxes and how they were wired internally. So then you start figuring out, this goes to that, and then I don't know, for me, I start wiring it up in my head because I had to do it manually first. Like, okay, I need to put this together. So somehow that helped me, but maybe that's just me.
I mean, look, it has helped me, but I think I've also run this whole studio before I got into modular in a way like a modular system. So everything's changeable because of patch bays, and I can quickly just say take a drum sound out of a drum machine and put it through that filter or that effects unit or that.
Okay. Yeah, so you got 4 patch bass down there. Yeah, it's a few patch bass.
So I've always had it like that, and I've always changed things around a lot to get different sounds out of it.
Yeah.
So I've learnt sort of the modular sound in the sound engineering way, but it wasn't really perfect at synthesis.
Yeah. So it was just because you're using it. You're wiring things, but you're wiring machines instead of like...
That's right. I'm wiring sound rather than control voltage.
Yeah. So how do you feel now when you play now after all these years? How do you feel when you go and play on stage? Number one, are you still as nervous as ever? Number two, has it become second nature to you when you play live?
Yes, to both. Like, I always get nervous.
Yeah.
I'll get nervous from 2 hours before I go to the sound check, and then I'm just a wreck most of the day. And my wife's learned to deal with it. She goes, "Oh yeah," but it's good to get nervous. You know, I never want to be that guy who rocks up and go, I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah.
You know, I can't have that. I can't have that tennis player attitude. I need to be nervous. But then as soon as I start playing, as soon as I hit play and after the first few bars, like the nerves are gone and I'm just in my own little world and it becomes second nature.
Yes.
I don't have to think about things anymore. I just do them.
Yes.
So it definitely has come. I mean, that's muscle memory.
Yeah.
That's with any instrument, whether you're a piano player or play a harpsichord. I mean, you need muscle memory. And once you got that, and it becomes second nature.
Yeah, because you practice it. You've done it so many times. Do you ever these days come across anything that stops you and makes you panic?
Yeah. It's like quite often.
Any machines have a glitch that.
Well, it's always the new machines that you haven't used that much. You know, you bring in something new into your setup and start using it, and that's the least one that you know better out of all of them. So they can sometimes create problems or
trick you up.
Yeah, trick you up, or
don't remember a key combo or something.
Yeah, or you set the sequence wrong, or you think it's going to be this, but what comes out is completely wrong. And you're like, oh shit, and then you just got to work it.
Yeah.
And then the always those moments in a live set where you get stuck and you go, it's sounding out good out of the speakers now, but what the fuck am I going to do next?
Yeah.
That's shit. What am I going to do? Then you start panicking, like shit. What do I do next?
Yeah.
And I mean that still happens to me. Not every gig maybe, but it still happens to me.
Yeah. How am I going to? You get to a point where I've done this a few times now. Not that I've played out that much, but you get to a point where you stop, you listen, you stop actually playing, and you go, oh wow, okay, that is rocking. I'm loving this. And then because you've stopped and thought about it, you're like, oh, shit, where do I go from here?
Right.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what. I'm expert at killing the groove. You might be going great, and then because I start panicking, then I change it too quickly. I should have just let it go.
Yeah, you should have left it. Yeah.
Right.
Go have a toilet break or something. I tend to go for a drink. I'll just go have a drink or something, and then it's another conversation I was having last night, and so I'll start just preparing for the next thing I'm going to mix in instead of trying to change it right away. Or because we use DJ mixers now, I might just drop it, do a DJ, drop the filter, and and then just play with it that way. It doesn't really change the sound. You're just having a bit of fun, right? What we want to know now is what is the next evolution of Jani Ho? Where to next?
Ooh, where to next? More albums, more music.
You mentioned something about a house set to me.
I'm working on a new house set live. I wanted to put together a live set, all hardware, but like house music and lower tempo. And I've been thinking about this for a while and collecting some of my favorite disco and funk records.
Yeah.
And
sampling
them, making loops and chopping them up and making riffs. And I think sort of halfway through it as I looked at it last night. So I think I'm ready to start putting it together.
Yeah. And, so we can expect some live house sets for Jani Ho in the not too distant.
I really enjoy playing house, like DJing house. So I thought to myself, like, why not do this live?
Yeah, why not? I think there's a few people. I think I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. Ewan, who just arrived from WA not too long ago. Doing his stuff in Melbourne.
Okay.
He's doing house live, so that I know of, and I think there was there a couple of other people that Tom knew. Anyway, there's a few people out there. So it would be good to have maybe even an all live house night. That'd be wonderful. Yeah. So before we finish, we'll mention what your future plans are. You mentioned a European tour.
Yeah, so I'm working on a European tour for August, September, sort of end of European summer this year, and then the following year will be America.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if it's still around.
Yeah. Long as Detroit's there, it's fine.
It'll be on its own little. It'll be its own little planet or something.
It'll still be
our own country, the country of Detroit. So so later on in September. So around Europe, is that anywhere in particular? Berlin or?
Yeah, it really only just depends on organising where to go first and what to do last. But so UK,
Spain,
Scotland, Berlin. Hopefully Portugal, we'll see.
That'd be nice.
Would love to go back to Italy again.
Yeah,
I really like it there.
Yeah, the Italians like their electro
techno too.
Yeah. I should know. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We'll move into your live set in a moment, and for those who are also on the YouTube, we'll do a little rig rundown for you as well. So thanks again for joining us, Jani.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll move into the live set.
Excellent. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.